Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. And today we have a HoGaDe's, of course, and this is a very special HoGaDe's. You will see we have a special guest with us.
No. I must correct you. It's HoGaDe's today.
Oh, of course. HoGaDe's. How can I forget?
Oh, that's funny.
Thank you, Lady G. Of course. HoGaDe's today. HoGaDe's today. So, of course, let me, I always do it the wrong way. So here we are. Here is Lady G in New Mexico, live, and below, but this time not down under, we have Deann from, and it's Deann Sheild Maiden Tarot. And where are you based, Deann? And thanks so much for joining us.
Illinois.
Illinois. Yep. Lovely part of the world. Lovely part of the world. Now, I want everyone to give Deann a nice warm welcome. Many of you are already familiar with Deann, so you've come, Deann, you've come highly recommended. This is her first show with us. I've given her a little briefing, of course, behind, but as you know, on this show, we let rip and we just read the cards and we go with it. Just some little things before we start off. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to support the channel, if you've enjoyed the channel. And I've also put the ladies' descriptions in the, oh, crikey. Actually, I need to update my descriptions. I've just remembered I was very busy today. So check out, when you guys watch this, I'm going to put the ladies' descriptions in there as well. Please like and subscribe. And to give you a little update, guys, I will be doing a retreat. It's not really a retreat. It's going to be an immersive experience with astrology and acupuncture and all of this stuff in Mexico in February next year. It's fabulous. I'll let you guys know more. But let's begin. Ladies, are we ready? Yeah. Right. Okay. So question number one. So we're going to be going quite a bit in the United States, but we also do international questions as well. So this first one, let me just make sure I've got it. This is about the auto workers. You know, there's an auto worker strike either happening or coming up, something like that. So two people have asked. So Kim Honeychurch has asked, and so has Melissa Ha. So it's kind of like a two-pronged question. So how will the United Auto Workers unprecedented strike affect worker wages? And then from Melissa is also what about car prices? These execs are going to use this as further excuse to ratchet up these prices as if they don't make enough already. So basically, let's read on that. We're reading about the United Auto Workers strike. Will they get their wages, and will it affect car wages? There we are. Get my cards, actually. And welcome to everyone joining us in the chat. Lots of you coming in. Thank you so much for joining us. Auto workers. And who is ready to go? Who feels ready to go?
I'll go ahead and go.
Go for it, Lady G.
At the center of it, we have them being very stressed. They're feeling backed up against the edge here with things. Going into it, they've got new ideas. At the moment, they are feeling that they have faced loss. The challenge is the judgment with it and what's being birthed. Now, above it, we have those, and I think this would be, they're looking for higher things, but these are the ones in power, working on a deal. It's still hung up a bit underneath of it. Foundation, they're looking at money-wise, starting, looking for it, and this is the path forward, what they choose to do, and they're just looking at what they're going to get. But it feels like they're going to try to get away with as little as they can get away with and get them back to work.
Very interesting.
I got the Eight of Swords. They're feeling trapped. They're feeling like, they're just not getting what they need to be getting. They feel they don't know, what to do. Yes, this has caused some heartbreak. It's caused some stress in the family. There's a lot of sadness and regret. They're just seeing the negative. They're not seeing the positive in this. But I feel like they are going to win. But yes, they are going to try to raise the prices due to this. And I used my pendulum to see if they would win this strike. And I got, yes, they are going to win. But yes, they're going to use it as an excuse to raise the car prices.
Yeah, and I just pulled on the car prices. They're ending what it is. They're a bit delusional because they want more money. They're greedy. So, yeah, they're going to try to raise it as much as they can.
Wow. Fascinating. Okay. What did I get? And I normally pull five cards, with the second card being seen as a kind of an obstacle position. So if we look here, the first card that I pull out symbolizing the reading is the Four of Swords. So in a way, this is kind of symbolizing almost kind of like the stalemate in a way. It's like in a way, like the workers themselves have had enough of maybe their situations and their lives not improving. Because obviously this is a very still card. It can deal with meditation, but a lot of it is to do as well with being wounded in battle. So it's almost like maybe the auto car workers have been pushed to their maximum, and they're like, how can we live? Yeah, because this card is the opposite of life. They're like, how can we live in these scenarios? But who's their obstacles? Oh, look, King of Swords. So these are their bosses, yeah, because even though the King of Swords can represent sharp intellect, justice, etc., and stuff like that, I think these are the bosses literally cutting them to the bone. Because the King of Swords can have a quite a ruthless side as well, and can be very cold and clinical. So I think this is who they're dealing with. This is their opposition. But what's going on? We have the High Priestess here. So there's machinations behind the scenes, negotiations. I think this is obviously, like picking up on you ladies' cards. This is the bosses trying to profiteer as much as possible, and then trying to make out that it's because of the inactivity of their workers. Yeah, because they're planning to go on strike, down tools. But there's going to be a lot of juggling. There's going to be a lot of juggling in the background, looking at budgets and stuff. This is obviously the workers having to balance their own lives and their own budgets. But I think this is also the bosses as well, trying to work out some kind of compromise, because obviously they want to keep their profits. And ultimately, when we see the outcome card here, we get the Ace of Pentacles. So I think they will get a deal. This could be potentially maybe hopefully something quite lucrative for their wages, but I think the negotiations and the machinations are going to take quite a while. Anything else to add to that, ladies, before we move on?
Nope.
Yeah, all good. Well, there you are, Deann. You made it through your first question session. You did great. She said she couldn't sleep, folks. She was nervous the night before. Bless her.
I was trying to spit that out so fast I got tongue-tied. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Don't forget to breathe and take your time. You'll know there's no interruptions here. Whatever comes to you, you'll be given time to speak.
You're not on a time clock.
I was trying to hurry.
No, definitely take your time. And let's see who's in the comments as well. We have got yes. What's this now? What's Darren saying here? Let's just quickly see what this person. Retired teacher here, living in New Green, carless for life. So they say, oh, that took up too much space on the screen there, but they say they walk everywhere. Okay.
Well, that's nice if you live in a place that's got everything close.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel very fortunate living in London because I don't have a car and I can't actually drive. But why? Because in London you don't have to. The transport is superb. It really is very, very good. So maybe one day, who knows? Are we ready for the next question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so now we're jumping in our esoteric aeroplane and we're going to Cuba. Because you know we always have an international question here on the show. So this is going to be a cold read for all of us. We don't mind a cold read on this show. So here we are. This is coming from Nicola McClafferty, who always asks some very piquant questions. So she says, Cuba have made conflicting statements in regard to their civilians being forced to fight in Ukraine. Ooh. Can the cards show what is true? And is there any indication as to a change in Cuba's relationship with Russia? So shall I read that again? Because it's quite a complex one. Cuba have made conflicting statements on their civilians being forced to fight in Ukraine. Can the cards show what is true? And is there any indication as to a change in Cuba's relationship with Russia? Yeah. Quite a layered question, that one, isn't it? Cuba. Their civilians being used to fight in Ukraine. Civilians being used to fight in Ukraine.
So is Cuba fighting with Russia? And what was the other part? Is it true that they're fighting with Russia? And what was the second part again?
So it was what Nicola's saying is there's conflicting statements from, I would imagine, the Cuban government on whether or not their civilians are being forced to fight in Ukraine. So on one level, are the civilians of Cuba being used?
Yes.
And then can the shark card show, is there a change in the relationship between Cuba and Russia?
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. Who's ready to go?
I'll go.
All right, go for it, Lady G.
At the center, they are feeling very tied up. Going into it, there are some hidden things, secret things going on. Right now, they are feeling beleaguered. They're getting whacked. The challenge is what they're doing going forward, and there are manipulations happening. We look at the history that they wanted going into it long-term benefit, and so the challenge is they are struggling with some things. I think struggling with Russia. Underneath of it, a lot of mental pain when it comes to the people and what's being worked on. So it looks like indeed some of them are being sent over there and being forced to fight.
Ooh, wow. Okay, Deann, what do you have?
Well, I got, yes, they are working together with Russia. They are doing that. People, they don't want to, they're to stand to, like Lady G said, they don't want to sacrifice themselves for Russia. The people don't want this. The people they're afraid and they're fearful and they don't know what to do. They're trapped in their head about this, but the authority is telling them they have to, because, and I don't know, there may be money involved in this too, that they're doing it for getting something for it.
Yeah, Cuba is so broke. They just have nothing there, even worse than Russia.
Oh.
Wow. So that means they could almost be maybe even kind of compelled or even bullied almost into this.
Well, yeah, the government would force them to go. The only money would come to the government. It wouldn't come to those people.
Very, very interesting. I've got quite complex cards here. So again, speaking about a lot of different things. So the first card I get is the 5 of Wands. So here we are straight away. We know that Cuba and the people are conflicted. There's not a consensus about this, how to respond to Russia. If this is indeed, you know, the case, it's causing a lot of internal conflict, strife, arguments about what to do. Here in the obstacle position, we have the Judgment card. Yeah, we've got the Judgment card here. So it's almost like this proclamation has come from Russia, where it's almost like, this is the call. Aren't we old comrades after all? Remember, you know, the Cold War and all of this kind of stuff. So this is almost like, you can imagine Putinesca on the phone, the leaders of Cuba. And if this is the case, it's like Russia is calling on the citizens of Cuba to kind of come up and defend, you know, the fatherland and the cause and everything like that. And here we've got the Page of Cups, which I sometimes refer to as stinky fish. So this can be an unpleasant message that comes one's way. So as we can see, there's an unpleasant proclamation, probably from Russia to, you know, the Cuban people. However, the Cuban government, oh, we've got just over 1,000 with us now. Thank you guys for joining us. However, the Cuban government here, because here we get the Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Wands can talk about bringing people together, negotiation, networking, stuff like that, but also using one's intuition. So I think this is the position of the Cuban government, and maybe they're trying to negotiate a position of increased strength going forward, because of course, if you don't have that much money, even though Russia's not doing great, but it's still considerably wealthier than Cuba. But if we look here, we get the Hermit card as well. So this is causing deep reflection, I think, within the country about what is the right thing to do. They need the contacts, of course, even though the message is not a very pleasant one, and the proclamation has come on from on high, but somehow they've got to find a way to compromise and deal with the situation, because they're not in a position of strength. Anything else to add to that, ladies?
Yeah, we have, you know, the higher ups, of course, the ones like Putinesca having the conversations about the people and the young men being motivated from Cuba. And they do like you to say Cuba.
Oh, really? Cuba?
Not Cuba. Yes, it's Cuba.
Deann, anything to add to that before we move on? Or?
No, I just feel bad for the people, because, you know, the people are the ones that always suffer, you know, for the greed of the ones in charge. They're being used.
Yeah, I know somebody that came from Cuba on an inner tube.
Oh, what's that?
And unfortunately, a few of them left together, and a couple just went crazy. So they didn't have water or food with them. I think, as he said, it took 6 days, and one of them got eaten by a shark.
What?
Yeah, so very difficult, very, very difficult journey leaving Cuba.
How desperate do you have to be to come on an inner tube like that with no food and no water? That just tells you how desperate those people are.
Well, yeah.
They don't value their people.
Exactly. His family had very nice, large place, and the government took everything. His grandfather killed himself because the government took their property, their lands. His mother got shot and killed. And so, yeah, it's just a nightmare there.
Wow. I mean, there's one thing of reading it in the news, isn't it? And then there is the actual hearing it from a person who knows people that have given direct testimony on that. And it's just extraordinary, isn't it? The exploitation and the desperation that they use against these people. My goodness. Okay, right. Next question coming up. This one is about Mitt Romney. And apparently he's written a salacious new book about the GOP.
Now he does.
Yeah, so there's a couple of questions that come in. So one of them is HMTN Dancer. I don't know how to say that. Maybe it's supposed to be something cool. And then Kim Honeychurch has also asked about this as well. So what will Mitt Romney's book do for / or against the GOP? Sounds like he's spilling the beans. Blessings. So let's have a read. And what do you ladies know about this book? It's the first I'm hearing of it. So cold read for me.
Yeah, for me too.
Me too. Me too. I do know that Mitt Romney said he had to pay thousands of dollars, I heard, a day for protection because he voted to impeach Trump. And a lot of them told him, think of your children, think of your family, and so, but he still did it. And so there's a lot of people who voted not to impeach Trump because of fear of MAGA people hurting their families, because their addresses and all that stuff is listed. So it's crazy.
That's quite an insight. Wow. Okay. Well, that means this book is very high stakes then. Very courageous of Mitt to write this. Mitt Romney's book. I hope it's a salacious page turner.
My.
I mean, he's got plenty of material, hasn't he? I mean, it might even be outlandish, hard to even believe. They're so over the top, aren't they? Mitt Romney.
Well, while you guys are pulling, I'll go ahead and start so we can keep going. Well, he is taking action. He's taking the bull by the horns at the beginning of it. And going into it, he looks at what they've tried to get away with, what's going on now. This is offering up this medicine to heal and to show the poisons and the medicines and everything. The challenge is ending the strongman scenario that they've got going, like the maggot clan. Above it, we have overturning things, getting people to see from a new perspective when it comes to those in wealth and power in the GOP and the choices they've made in life. Underneath of it is the dark back road they've walked. And he is bringing this into what's going on now in new actions. So it's going to be as you say, Hogarth, a ripper.
Well, I got the 7 of Pentacles. He's looking at everything that he has been through, all the evidence, all the stuff that the GOP had covered up. And he's going to be, taking that out and putting that in the book, one thing at a time. He's talking about the missed opportunity that they had, that they had to impeach him. The bully, this stands for the bully, that he missed the opportunity. They missed that to impeach him. He says that he's hopeful that we will keep our freedom and that we will heal. But, and he also is going to talk about the reckless spending and the money that was involved in this. And he's very disappointed and feels grief over the fact that people were afraid to vote their conscience. But he said he's not giving up and he's refused to compromise. So even though he was in danger, he knew that he had to vote that way because it was our democracy at stake. So he was willing to take the risk. So that's what the book's going to be about.
Good deal.
Oh, fascinating. And just some response in the chat to some of our previous things here. So Miriam has said, workers everywhere need to stand up to greedy corporate leaders. Enough is enough. I certainly agree. Someone has said here as well, my car is over 15 years old and I can only have 76,000 miles, so it will last a lot longer. I won't pay for newer models. Yeah, so some people may, in a way, because of budgets, will hold out on buying a new car.
Yep, I'm keeping mine till it falls apart. I'm just keep fixing it because you can't afford car payments. A car costs more than my first house. Cost almost as much as my second house, So I have a 2011 Kia Soul, and I'm driving that thing into the ground.
Mine's one year more than yours. Mine's a 2012, 1 year early.
Wow! So I know what to send you guys. Send you both for Christmas this year, don't I? Gaffer tape, lots of gaffer tape.
Yes, I'll be duct taping. If that's duct tape, I'll be...
Yeah, duct tape.
Is that duct tape? Okay.
I remember seeing that on the train. Actually, I was going through Oregon once upon a time, and before we're pulling into the station, and I literally saw this car that was held together with duct tape. Even the side mirror was just black because it was the glass had broken and the bumper was held on it, and I was just like, wow. But yes, such are the times. Fascinating, isn't it? In regards to Mitt Romney's book, what did I get? So if we look here, Four of Pentacles. So I think this really sums up so much of what this is about. He's had to focus on his security, quite literally, in terms of his safety, his security. You mentioned that he, had to spend thousands in terms of keeping himself safe, because we know this is a card about looking after the pennies and stuff like that. However, I would also interpret that this can also talk about the GOP secrets that they don't want to let go, the things they don't want people to know, because they're constantly gaslighting, aren't they? They're constantly gaslighting. And Mitt is kind of going to be prizing some of these treasured coins out of the hands, I suspect. When we look here, normally this card will be the obstacle position, but I think this is Mitt Romney. This is him taking up his power and deciding to go for it anyway. I also think as well, if we were to interpret this as an obstacle position, this is also the machinations, the manipulation, the people as well that didn't vote to impeach as well. So I think this is Mitt Romney literally taking his power and prizing those coins away. But this is also commenting as well on the manipulation as well within the GOP and the people who are just going along with all the BS. Yeah. If we look here in the middle of the reading, so often you would have seen, Lady G, isn't it? How often when we talk about the GOP, we get the 10 of Cups, and we interpret this card almost for the GOP's almost fake idealism. They're always talking about values and family, but we know it's got nothing to do with that. It's to do with money and power, which again would be suggestive here of the Magician. The money factor is definitely here as well. Look at that. So I think Mitt Romney is also going to be talking about donors, funders of the GOP. I think he might really let rip on it all, because what's the point? You may as well just go the whole hog, because if you're going to have your life threatened and your family threatened, you're not just going to go there to say, oh, and by the way, I heard Mary Lou said this to, Jenna Sue. No, it's going to be, you got to really go for it.
Lay it bare.
Yeah, I think he may even he's going to talk about the funding, and he's going to talk about the mercenaries as well. Ultimately, the outcome could be quite good for Mitt Romney. Yeah, this book could sell. Yeah, he's got the 9 of Pentacles here. This book could sell, but also as well, when you think of the shadow of this card can literally mean the courtesan or the person who is bought. So I think the book is actually going to reveal a lot of the funders, benefactors, a lot of the people who are behind the machine and maybe had vested interests in Trump winning because it suited them financially. Anything else to add to that, ladies? No? All good? All right. So, folks, you heard it here first. Mitt Romney's probably written an absolute ripper. So we'll have to see. Let's scroll down in the comments and see who else. So thank you for joining us, guys. We've got Patricia Franzino, Marjorie, Alan, Darren, Mercury Angel is also here, Deborah, Oya, Bakir. Let's see here. What are people discussing in the chat? Oh, look at this. Someone said here, Kathy Hargrove said, if the CEO needs 21 million to have a decent life, then how can he say the workers only need 74,000 to have a decent life? Wow, 21 million. Incredible hypocrisy, isn't it, with these companies? Price gouging as well. People have been talking about lots of price gouging on everything. Let's see. What's there? Other people joining. All right. Let's go to the next question. So let's have a look here. So where are we? Number 4. So this is going to be the first of our 1-card pulls. So we're going to shuffle, pull a card, and then we're going to flip after 3. So someone's written here. So Jenny Bay has written, P.S. Ken Paxton was reinstated as AG of Texas. Have you heard about this, lady?
Yes. Yes, he shouldn't have been, but yeah.
Oh my God.
They acquitted him.
So we're going to do a 1-card pull, and we're going to ask Shakespeare as well what he thinks. Yeah. So we're going to be asking you, Deann. So let's do our 1-card pull. And really the question is here is on Ken's reinstatement and what that means going forward. So he's been reinstated. What does that mean in terms of for Texas going forward? Let's look at the energy of that. 1-card pull. Are we ready?
Yep.
All right. After 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, look at that. Lady G and I have got the same card. So,
yes, you
Deann,
do.
what do you think of your card? How do you interpret that for Texas going forward?
I feel like he survived a disaster. He should have been convicted, but he survived. Instead of this, it's in reverse. So, and what that's going to feel like for Texas is a lot of them are going to be upset. A lot of the ones that are MAGAs will be happy, but most of the people in Texas are going to be upset about it.
Yeah.
Wow. It's amazing, isn't it? How that your reversed card absolutely identifies what happened. Lady G, how do you interpret your card?
Yeah, it's just, getting ready to move forward. That's it.
Yeah. And likewise, look, I got the same card. So it's almost like here, it's almost like Paxton is like, back to business, everybody.
That's the rearview mirror now.
Yeah, because the three of wands
falling out, so no problem.
Yeah, because the 3 of wands is about what? It's about speculation. It's about entrepreneurship, making plans going forward. Literally for him, his ships came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, this card is about waiting for your ship to come in, and it did. And the fact that Lady G and I have got the same card and you got 10 of swords reversed, I think that just says it all, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing with the 1-card pulls.
Their fears coming true. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is the Democrats' fear coming true. This is what they feared too, that he would get away with it.
Wow. It's remarkable. I always find that the 1-card pulls, they can be so succinct. Look at that. I mean, that was it. It said everything. Okay, let's see what Shakespeare thinks of Ken Paxton, who obviously seems like a piece of work. And the way it works, so Deann, I'm going to flick through the book, and you, wherever you feel impelled to do so, you just tell me to stop, and I'll read that page.
Okay, stop.
Oh, this is interesting. So here on one side, I can't remember, someone else got this. So let me see what's here. Oh, okay. So this is from Troilus and Cressida. This is what the bard has to say. A fusty nut with no kernel. Yeah. A fusty nut with no kernel. And this is very interesting as well. This is from Measure for Measure, and it says, I know what I know. I can hardly believe that, since you know not what you speak. So in a way, I feel like almost that second page sums up how he kind of managed to get out of this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a fussy nut, but I know what I know. I can hardly believe that, since you know not what you speak, measure for measure. So I think that has to do with the whole process itself. What are your thoughts on that, ladies?
I think you're right. I'll go with that.
I'll go with that.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I have nothing to add.
No problem. All right, so we're rattling along. We're doing
I'll
good.
just say I'm very severely unhappy with him because my mother's a Paxton and all the Paxtons are related somewhere.
Oh.
Wow. Wow. Fascinating.
Shame on you.
Oh, I can well imagine. Yeah, he's obviously got lives, more lives than the cat. He managed to get out of it, and the cards reflected it as well. And we have over 1,200 people with us as well tonight. So thank you guys so much for the love and the support. I hope you're enjoying the show. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. Before we move on to the next question, let's see more. Let's have some more response from what peeps have been saying. What's it called? Kathy's saying, let the workers eat cake. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Very much. Let's see. Oh, someone's asking here, how do Londoners with no cars do grocery shopping? They take cabs to haul the grocery items. And look at the question mark there. No, some people do drive. I mean, there are car parks and stuff, but I mean, you know, in London, the transport's really good. You don't really need a car. Let's see here. This is interesting. So Marjorie Lara says, Cuban has been traveling to Russia since the break from the USA. So I don't know if they're referring to themselves or just in general. And let's see here. What else? Let's see. Some people are talking about different things. London, Paris. Oh, let's see. Question: will federal conviction shock Duck L'Orange so much that he transits in fear or anger? Well, we've got a Trump question coming up. Okay, ladies, are we ready for question number 5?
Absolutely.
All right, so here we are. Oh, now look, this might be a little bit controversial. So controversy alert, folks, because here we're going to be talking about maturity, about age. Yeah. So a person has asked about terms, and I'm going to also read out the comments that person got. Anyway, so Mercury Angel asked, I really don't understand why these old politicians don't retire. Honestly, why in the heck would Biden want to run a country at the age of 80? They say. Why is Trump allowed to run at the age of 78 when the election starts, and also facing so many criminal charges? Biden has been amazing, but, and then it went ... because I wasn't able to get the rest of it. So Hazel Love wrote back and said, who would you suggest? Yeah, so this is a dialogue which is happening within the chat. And then someone else said, Melissa said, we know why 45. We know why with 45. And because of dear Uncle Joe has a diminishing choice. But yes, can't wait for the up and coming to take over with great change. Blessings. Many of us feel as you do. So I'm just reading that chat. Yeah, remember the show is based on your questions. So from that, I formulated a question. Will term limits be set for Congress and the presidency in the future? How about that? Bit controversial, but I think a lot of people are thinking about these things. Dianne Feinstein springs to mind, and of course, Mitch McConnell. Let's see. Will term limits be set for Congress and the presidency? For me personally, I think it all depends. Like if you think of, say, like a Nancy Pelosi, for example, She is sprightly, feisty, 80, and
Right.
could just carry on until wherever, whenever. So for me, it's like, it's however competent that person is. And then you, sadly, like we've seen with Mitch McConnell, since we've seen with Mitch McConnell, you know, that does raise some questions as well, doesn't it? So let's see. Ooh.
Yeah, some people were talking about that. They said we need really young blood in there, and I go, well, yeah, but Nancy Pelosi knows her way around. She knows the ins and out, and she's tough. You get somebody in there new that doesn't know, doesn't know what they're doing, and I 10 times rather have her in there.
Yeah, but like McConnell, he's kind of, freezing and having these little mini strokes or whatever it is he's having, and just he needs to retire. His health, he can't do his job anymore. It has nothing to do with his age, but his health.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, indeed. Who's ready to read first? Who would like to read next?
I can go.
Go for it.
I got yes, they are going to. This is a yes card. They are going to eventually do term limits because people are hanging on to these jobs as long as they can. They hang on to them till they're in their grave. They just do not want to let go. So we are going to find there has to be some balance, some moderation, at least, they can be older, but healthy. Like you said, there has to be some test. And I do see that there's going to be some changes in the future.
Brilliant. Perfect read. Lady G, what do you have?
Well, at the center of it, people are feeling lost with all of this stuff. There's some new ideas coming in. They're going to be researching this more, looking deeper. The challenge is some hidden things being offered up. So it looks like they're starting talks. Underneath of it, this is going to be moving forward. They're looking at what people's desires are. Again, looking deeper, questioning this. There's going to be some judgments made about those holding on to power. But yes, like you, the karma card, it's going to take a bit of time. But yes, they are going to make changes.
Yes, fascinating. And just to give a little feedback in the comments here, so Nancy is saying Cuba is stuck with communism.
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong, we cut them off. Brilliant art and medicine. So yeah, it's like they're between a rock and a hard place because they don't have the money as well and the funding, so they're more vulnerable to a Russia. So thanks for that feedback there. Interesting cards that I've got here. All right. Card that I've got about term limits and stuff like that. At some point, these people need to shuffle off. Yeah, this is about moving to smoother waters, and all of this kind of stuff. And as we know, with this boat, it's traveling along. But if any of the swords should be pulled out, the boat would sink. Yeah. So I think this is saying to me there does need to be term limits. There needs to be time set for when people have to move on to smoother waters. Like with Deann there, they can't just be holding on for 1,000 years until they literally taking out in the stretcher. It's just ridiculous. I think one day we could literally see Mitch transition on live TV.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? This could actually happen. If we look here, we see some people are not liking necessarily what's on the table, but I think these are the Congress people who are not wanting to go. Yeah. They know that their health is not working out, and they're not looking at the obvious one here, which is like, look, you could retire, Nah. This is, for me, this is almost like Mitch here as well, or anyone that really doesn't. I mean, we could say this, maybe to be fair, this could be a Dianne Feinstein as well. I mean, they're literally wheeling her around, aren't they? If we look here, sanity and judgment has to come to the rescue in the end. We got the Queen of Swords in the middle. So someone's going to have to come with sane, rational judgment and just be like, we need to cut this. We need to slice this. we can't carry on in this way. There should be some kind of test of competence. And in a way, you could say this is almost like a Nancy Pelosi. In a way, she's mature, but she's still sharp. There's no comparison between Pelosi and McConnell, you know, who should be basically selling antifreeze on some infomercial channel somewhere. It's just ridiculous. So we've got that. Here, though, however, there are the people that want to hold on. Here, almost like the Queen of Pentacles, wanting things to stay stable, things to stay the same, things for the routines to keep on going, and all that stuff. And look here, the outcome card is the Biden card. Yeah. Very often we refer to the King of Cups as Biden. So it's kind of, in this instance, yes, I think people can see that term limits have to be set. But I suspect it will be after the Biden administration, because he's between a rock and a hard place as well, because he's mature as well. So is Trump. So they can't really throw the age thing at each other. Do you know what I mean? Except Trump does, even though he's only, 2 years and loose change younger than Biden. So, I mean, come on.
I know.
Anything to add to that, ladies?
Yeah, agree.
Yeah. All right.
All good.
Very interesting, though, wasn't it? In the chat, even just reading out people's comments, you can see, you know, those conflicting opinions. All right. So we're now going to go to question number 7. We're going at great pace. So this is a Trumpy. This is a Trump one. This is a Duck L'Orange. So Pearl Ruby asks, hi, HoGaDe's and guests. So Deann, will the monster finally be jailed for violating his new gag order? Thank you. Nice and straightforward.
Because you know he's gonna.
I think he already has, it seems. Trump. Will he go to jail for violating gag orders? Violating gag orders. Oh my goodness. Well, well, well. You wouldn't believe my cards. Who's ready to go next?
I can. At the center of it, they're working on things underneath of it, wanting to temper it. Going into it, they are trying to get to calmer waters, and they are ready to carry a big stick. The challenge is ending this, and they are still juggling things. But it looks like they're going to do some sort of something with him, either heavy sanctions or, you know, hopefully jail. I think he needs to have a few days in jail to get a wake-up call.
I got the 7 of Cups. So the judge, she don't know what to do with him. I mean, because he's a political guy. He's saying that, you know, it's political. It's political. He'll just say it's political. So they're trying to figure out what can we do with him so that the MAGA people, you know, we don't make violence. She worries about that. So she's trying to figure out, what can I do with him? Do I put him in jail? What's going to happen if I put him in jail? So, you know, what will the people do? So it's just a big decision for her. And so he is manipulating her, and he's conniving, and he's just trying to figure out, you know, he's got all these people, the public opinion. So he uses manipulation, but there has to be she knows there has to be some accountability. There has to be some judgment. So even though she's having a hard time figuring out what she's going to do, and she's been kind of resisting it, you know, a little bit. She knows it's inevitable, but she's resisting it. But in the end, 10 of Cups, I think she's going to have to, you know, and I will be happy when that happens. But yeah.
Fascinating, fascinating. I see a similar conflict as well in my cards. And as you know, Spirit always tunes in. So who do we have here? The Star. Now, when we're reading politically, we often refer to this as the Star of America, but Lady G will fully know well. This is Duck L'Orange, Donald Trump, right there, trying to stay in the middle, hogging what? All of the starlight, all of the limelight. He never wants the show to end, because the trouble is, with a malignant narcissist, is that any attention is considered good attention. They don't mind if they're the good guy or the villain. Either way, the spotlight is on them. So this is also Trump being an agitator as well. It's like he is daring the justice system. He's like, I dare you to put me in jail because you know I'm going to stir that hornet's nest. Yeah. But if we look at the obstacle position, well, he might call the judge's bluff and she might actually do it. She might actually do it. But I do feel like, though, this card is speaking in two ways. On one hand, it could be talking about the incarceration of Duck L'Orange, of Trump. But I think this is also going into the judge's conflicted feelings. Yeah. Feeling like her hands are tied. Shall I? Shan't I? Like what you guys, like you were both getting, ladies, in your cards. So of course my cards are resonating with that as well. So she wants to lock up Trump, but at the same time she's feeling, oh, I'm not sure. What will the consequences be? So in the middle of the card, we've got the Queen of Pentacles. So again, this is Trump basically, you know, business as usual. I'm just going to carry on with my same stuff because this is how I run and order my house. And this is the judge as well, trying to keep things stable. She doesn't want things to get out of hand because he's such a wild character. However, we see heartbreak for someone. Yeah. So the sense I get is I think it's going to reach the point where, like the both of you are saying, the judge will have no choice. Yeah. Because if he keeps doing it, what's the point of having these laws and these orders if he can just flout them? Yeah, makes a mockery of everyone. So it looks like here, Queen of Swords is back. I think this is like the third time I've pulled her tonight. So this is the judge basically using a clinical rationale and slicing, or whoever, even if it's a male judge, it doesn't matter. But I think this is a clinical judgment in the end, potentially coming out for Trump if he continues.
I think she worries about him riling up the base, so he's just like, I dare you, like you said, Hogarth. And then also if she does anything to appear to be unfair or biased, that they can say is they want to get her out of there. And they already want to get her out of there. So if she does one thing that they can use against her, you know, so that's, I think, her confusion.
Yeah. It's really interesting, isn't it, in our cards where we could see like the Queen energy there, a lady having to make an important judgment. So we know what Duck L'Orange is going to do. He's going to keep goading and pushing and prodding, you know, just like a kid, a brat, basically testing the boundaries until you kind of, bring some discipline. Yep. Right, we've got time for one more question. Okay. And this is kind of like an astrological question, but really we can pull cards on this all together. So Bella Orchid asks, dear Hogian ladies, one question, but more astrology, she's saying, more astrology kind. Could you tell us maybe here or in an extra video the astrological scenarios from now for roughly to the end of 2024? Now, what I would say to that is that's too long a time period. Yeah, that's over a year. But they have asked nicely, please. So what I think we should do is, in terms of the energies of what is going on, maybe let's look to see what's going to be happening overall from now up until about spring 2024 in America and all of that. I think that's doable between the three of us. Oh, it's doable. What's the energies between now and spring 2024? If we get tower cards, any of us, then we know it's going to be bumpy. Let's hope it's something smoother. Oh.
Okay.
You ready to go, Deann?
Yeah, I think so. Let me just
go for it.
I feel like with the Ace of Cups, we're going to go through a new emotional awakening. People are getting tired of this. I feel like we are going to start healing and becoming more hopeful. You know, we're going to be getting out of this feeling like we're trapped, you know. I feel like there will be some clarity and truth and new beginnings with the Ace of Swords. And that we're going to we're going to find the emotional strength, and we're going to abandon these type of people, the MTGs, all of those. We're going to start, people are going to start abandoning them. People are going to start walking away from them. Even the Republicans, you know, they're getting tired of being called rhinos if they don't agree with everything. People are starting to see the truth. So people want to walk away from this deceit, these lying type people. And I feel like we are going to start having some unexpected events that are going to cause some change in a better direction.
Fabulous. Lady G, what do you have?
Oh, well, mine is feeling that it's all about weather stuff. A lot of rain, a lot of snow, a lot of things like that. At the center, all of this is coming down that they don't want to see and deal with. Above it, tons and tons of water. There may be some deaths or some losses. Again, we've got water
again.
Wanting to get through this. More water is being offered. It's coming up. More water here. You know, trying to share and help. And again, more water, rain, and this mental difficulty that people are going to have. So I would say we're going to have floods and heavy duty snow. And I'm hoping that this reading is 180 degrees wrong, but that's what it looks like. And this is happening not only here, but across the world. There more floods and just crazy weather, snow.
Yeah. I think that's fair enough. I pulled my 5 cards, but then I had to pull some clarifiers as well. Okay. What did I get? So this is from now up until sort of like spring. Yeah, spring 2024. The cray will continue. The GOP are going to continue to do their craziness, their aggression, rushing in there with their wrecking ball. Like I said, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she thinks she's the political equivalent of Miley Cyrus. Yeah, she really is. That's what she thinks she is.
Horrible.
So they're going to keep on with their aggression, with their shenanigans. I think this is them obviously they're going to keep the whole Biden, Hunter Biden and Biden wagon going for as long as they can. Yeah, with this aggressive kind of energy here. And how do we know it's about the government? Because look, the Hierophant, but it's turned up in the obstacle position. So they're going to try and what? Shut down the government. That's what I think. I mean, I said this from November last year. I said, if they get the House, that's exactly what they're going to do. Hunter Biden, impeach Joe, and then try and shut down the government. So the cards are saying they're going to go for it. Another speedy card. Look, somehow events, guys, get ready. Events are going to get even faster. there's going to be even more speed and consequential things kind of like coming up. So just strap yourselves in, folks, because look, these aren't slow cards, you know, apart from the government one. But look, that's a fast card. That's a really fast card. There's still going to be lots of kind of profiteering, I think. Yeah. Greedy masters trying to make the most of it, trying to use weather events, if those things happen, to kind of get another buck, up the ante, all of that stuff. However, justice does come in. So there's probably going to be some pushback. This also speaks as well of how 2024 is going to be full of legalities as well. That's when a lot of these cases against Duck L'Orange and whoever else start to mature. More and more comes out of the woodwork. So I was just like, oh God, we need to pull some cards. It's going to require strength, everyone, as things speed up even more. There will be some sleepless nights, particularly if there's weather events and stuff like that. The corruption, the douchebaggery and the corruption will continue. However, there could be collaboration at the end of it. So I'm hoping with this card here, there is a coming together of the people and in politics to collaborate to deal with all of what is potentially coming down the road. So there we are.
I think more people are wanting change, than people are just getting tired of it. And like people said, there's more of us than there are of them. And but I feel like for America to get back to where we need to be, it's going to be a few years. It's not going to happen by spring. It is going to be a few years before we can clean up all this mess that has been made.
Absolutely.
I would agree. Lady G, anything to add to that?
Nope, that's about it. So just buckle up and we take it one step at a time. Step back, take a breather, listen to something that's going to calm you, keep you, so you're not riled up and getting yourself ill. Nobody needs to be ill over this. We will get through it.
Yeah, I think that is a great message as well to kind of wrap the show. Yes, folks, is it going to be it's like, what was it? All About Eve. Buckle up, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride. But at the same time, there's always hope, and understand as well, the younger generations coming up as well, they want change as well. A lot of these people are going to be wanting to fix things with the planet, with all of this stuff. And what we're having now is, the ones they're holding on. Look how many times we got the Four of Pentacles. There's people holding on, not wanting to let go. And eventually their hands will be prized off. And we will have to move forward because so many events will happen, speed one things after the other. And hopefully that will wake people up and there will be a better outcome. Can you believe it, ladies? The time has gone. We're already over.
Oh, it's
gone in a flash. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. Say again?
Oh, I just said it went fast.
Say again?
It does go very quick.
Yeah. Goes really quick. An hour is gone in a flash. We've had almost 1,400 of you with us this evening, so we really appreciate that. Thank you so much for joining us, commenting, liking, subscribing, donating, etc. We will be back next week. We're going to have you back next week, aren't we, Deann? For sure.
Yes, and this was fun, and thank you so much for letting me be on with you guys.
Absolutely.
My pleasure. Our pleasure. Fantastic. All right, well, we will leave it there for now, folks. So we will see you next week. Thank you all again for the support. Much love, and we will see you soon. All right, bye-bye for now. All right, see you.